Hey everybody, this is Noel from the Swansea Tiger Sports Network, coming to you today from the Swansea Wrestling Room. I am so stoked today for this Tiger Den podcast. I have Coach Thayle Singleton here with me. I've known Coach Singleton for a while now and have grown to really respect him. I'm super stoked to have him today and get to interview him and talk about the wrestling program that we have here at Swansea High School.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Noel. And I'm excited to talk about this team and showcase and talk about what we're looking for this year.
Awesome. I know one thing I noticed just as we were setting up and everything, the amount of student athletes that you have wrestling now. I know it wasn't too many years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it was kind of hard to get wrestlers and everything to come in. And looking at the student athletes, I mean, your wrestling room in there is just packed full of them.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's really exciting. I just now really got deep into the wrestling culture about 5 years ago, and I tell you, it is something that gets a hold to you and really takes you in.
Yep, it does. And to be exact, 2021 season, I believe it was, Swansea Wrestling had 3 wrestlers. And then me and my staff came in the 22-23 season, and we had 12. 23-24 season, we had 15. And then last year, 24-25 season, we ended with 30. And right now, we currently have 36.
That is awesome. And with this Tiger Den podcast, we are interviewing all the coaches at Swansea High School and, you know, letting the fans know what to expect this season and then also to let them know what we have here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think the wrestling program is one of those that many people may not know about. They may not know how scoring is or whatever, or what this means or what that means. The good thing about the wrestling is you can come watch it. Some people can stay still. I can't.
No.
But you can come watch it and you can watch the athletes on the mat, getting the mat time in, and just doing stuff that you're like, what in the world is this?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it is so fun to watch.
It's the greatest sport in the world, and it's really fun to watch at all levels, youth, middle school, and high school. It's all of them are enjoyable to watch, and like you said, you don't even have to really know what's going on to be entertained.
Let's start talking about the Swansea Wrestling this year. So how does this year's team compare to last year that you had? You had a good season last year.
Mm-hmm.
How does it compare? What are your thoughts about this team?
This year, this season, this team we're pretty young. Of our 36 wrestlers, only 7 of them are seniors. 3 boys that are seniors and 4 girls that are seniors. And last year, I thought we were young last year because we only had 9 seniors, but we're even younger this year, and which is good. That's something to build on for the future. But last year's team was a special group. They were several of those seniors were some of the first kids that we had when we came in as a staff in 22. They kind of helped us lay the foundation of what we're trying to build this program on. And those 3 seniors seen their first year going 2-14 to their last year. Last year we finished 23-8. So I mean we had a really good season, and they were a special group. But this group I think is hungry. They're very hungry. Like I said, we're young. We only have 3 senior boys going to impact our 14 starting lineup in the lineup. We got 4 senior girls. We're very excited. Like I said, they're hungry. We got a lot that we want to accomplish this year, and I think we can achieve everything we want to accomplish. So I'm pretty excited about this group.
That is awesome. And I know you mentioned that you had the boys that are here and then the girls that
Mm-hmm.
also wrestle. And, you know,
Yep.
a lot of people may not know that girls can wrestle in there. And I tell you, I watched one preseason match with some schools, and then I came over to Airport High School when Swansea Airport and AC Flora had a scrimmage the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, watching the girls on there, these are not girls that put on the makeup and the high heel. These are girls that mean business.
They're ready to get
And
after it.
I
Yeah.
tell you what, it was so exciting to see that. Just knowing that, because, you know, I have a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing that the world is open to them,
Yep.
no matter what, and wrestling is included in that too.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a pretty special girl from last season,
I do.
correct?
Yes, sir, I do. Anaya AJ Ruiz, she was state champion last year, girls state champion heavyweight class. She was a sophomore last year. She finished 14-2, and she is Swansea High School's wrestling first female to ever win a state championship. She's back this year to be in her junior year, and we're excited about her. She's getting after it in the room, and she's she's hungry for a repeat. We got high hopes for her to go be a 2-time state champion this year, and I think she's going to get it. If she keeps working like she is, she can get it.
And that's really awesome, for a sophomore to have that accomplishment, and then you have 2 more years after that,
Mm-hmm.
and not only what it means to the program, but what it means as far as a mentor
Yep.
to other student athletes and everything coming up. That is awesome, Coach Thayle.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the benchmarks you're looking at this year, what are your expectations and everything of this team that you have?
For Swansea Wrestling, we like to find out how tough they are, mentally and physically, because this sport, two attributes of this sport to be successful, you got to be mentally and physically tough. If you're not going to be successful in this sport. So we try to set that standard early in the season to let these kids know that we want somebody that's going to be tough, and you got to be able to endure the pain and get through the hurt. And we tell them all the time there's a difference in a hurt and an injury. Hurt is something that you can get up and walk off. An injury is something you got a bone sticking out or something like that. That's an injury. We're slowly finding out who's tough and who's not. That's kind of what we're trying to build this program on, is that toughness, and that's one of our benchmark. We're constantly telling them tough, and we're going to coach them hard, and they're responding to it well. Like I said, they're getting after it, and I think it's going to be a pretty special group this year.
That is awesome, and definitely kids being tough nowadays is not as common as it used to be, right?
No.
You have to work it out of them
Yep.
sometimes,
Yep.
right? So with the wrestling, some people may not know is you don't just put two student athletes out there against each other. There's different weight classes and
Mhm.
everything that they have. They have to be in that weight class to wrestle each other. Do you have like a certain weight class that the fans in Swansea are going to be looking at and like, hey, this weight class right here is going to really rock it, or do you have some standout student athletes in any particular weight class?
No, that was kind of hard because, to be honest with you, from the 120-pound class up through heavyweight, we're going to be pretty good. We have some wrestlers in all weight classes that's going to be competitive. They're talented and they're experienced. But to answer your question, we probably have four weight classes that stick out a little bit more than the rest. And the first one is the 144-pound class. Senior Landon Cunningham, he's going to be looking to wrestle in that class this year, and he's coming off of a junior season, 25-18. He had 14 pins last season. He made it to the state tournament, qualified for the state tournament, and he won a couple matches there. I think he went 2-2 at the state tournament. We're expecting him to have a big senior season. And then the next one is the 150-pound class. We got sophomore Daniel Aguilar looking to wrestle in that class this year, and he's coming off a great freshman year. He had an outstanding freshman season. He finished 33-15. He had 25 pins. He also made it to the state tournament, which is outstanding as a freshman. And then the next class, we're not real sure where this wrestler is going to go, if he's going to go 57 or 65. That's senior P.J. Larry. He's one of our leaders, and he really wants to get after it. We're expecting him to have a great senior season. He also made the state tournament last year as well. Finally, the final one of the four that kind of sticks out is Darrell Wine, senior Darrell Wine. We're not real sure if he's going to go 190 or 215 yet. Just depends on how hard he wants to work and if he wants to cut down or not. But he's coming off a 31-18 junior season. He had 26 pins. He, too, made it to the state tournament, qualified for the state tournament. We're expecting him to have a good senior season. I just want to give a couple honorable mentions to a couple outside of that. Sophomore Austin Crockett, he's coming off a great freshman season. He was 30-19, had 20 pins, qualified for the state tournament. He got a win at the state tournament, which was big for a freshman. He's going to be looking to go in the 132 class. And then juniors, Trey Selfridge, he had a 20-18 sophomore year. He's probably going to be competing somewhere around 175. We're looking for him to have a good junior season. And then, of course, on the girls' side, Miss AJ, we already talked about her, coming back as state champion, and we expect her to have a really good season. And then we got a transfer in this year on our girls' team from Brooklyn Casey, Hayden Moore. She's an experienced wrestler. I think she's been wrestling 5 years, and she's qualified for state the last 3 years on the girls' division. So we're looking to she's never made a medal, made it to the podium. So we're looking to help her get that, her senior year. We're going to push her and see if we might can get her on the podium and maybe get a second state champion with her and AJ. So this year, I mean, like I said, it's hard. It's hard to single out one single weight class. We got a lot of good wrestlers. There's others I could talk about, but those four really stood out, and then I wanted to mention them couple extra there. So,
as you being the coach, that's a good problem to have, that you can't single
Right.
out one weight class,
Yep,
right?
yep.
You have it spread out. your coaches are coaching no matter what weight class it is, the same to go out there and do the best that they can.
Yep.
And everybody has the potential to do what they can do.
Right. Right.
I know you mentioned three names that stuck out as leaders in the wrestling that you were talking about, PJ Jarrell and then Trace.
Mm-hmm.
They're also leaders on the football
Football
field too,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
They
that's
are.
awesome how, they come off the season from football, being leaders on the field, they're leaders on the mat.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows their character as student athletes. I wanted to ask. I know I was hearing you talk. You had some wrestlers weighing in. We were talking about you guys were talking about weight a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Some people with wrestling, you want to stay in a weight class. You want to be in that weight class. So your eating habits and stuff have to be watched. So you as the coach, what do you encourage your student athletes as far as weight control? We don't want to have them any kind of eating disorders or anything
Right.
in school and stuff. So how do you healthy teach your athletes what to do about the weight classes?
One thing here at Swansea, we do it a little different. We don't require any of our wrestlers to cut weight. Once they take their OPC testing, which determines what weight class they're allowed to drop to, I have a one-on-one meeting with every one of them, and we talk about where they want to go, and ultimately it becomes their decision of where they want to go. If they want to cut down to the weight class that OPC allows them to, that's their decision. We let them make that decision, but once they make that decision, I'm going to hold them accountable to making that decision or accomplishing that weight cut because they told me they're going to make that cut. So I'm going to hold them accountable to that, and I'm telling them I give them a diet plan and I help them try and achieve that cut. And we just try to make sure they're doing it the right way. A lot of wrestlers think they got to starve to cut weight or wear 3-4 different layers of clothing when they come in here to practice, and that's not where you do it. Practice at Swansea Wrestling, practice is for practice. Practice is not for cutting weight. You don't need to come to practice expecting to cut weight. We're coming here to get better and get conditioned. So the weight cutting, and we preach it to the kids, the weight cutting is done at home or in the classroom or at school, in the lunchroom. We try to give them, tips and stuff that they can do and things that they can do and things they can eat to be healthier, and we try to tell them that if it comes out of a cardboard box, it's probably not good for you. You probably don't need to be eating it, and it's probably not a good choice to eat while you're trying to cut weight. We try to tell them to eat more meat, chicken, fish, steak, pork, and just make sure it's grilled or it's baked, nothing fried. Stay away from fried, stay away from carbs if you can. If you are going to eat carbs, make sure they're good carbs. We try to tell them to pair it with something green, green beans, broccoli, salad, asparagus, Brussels sprouts. Put something green with it, but just focus on eating good, healthy protein and putting a vegetable with it. Fruits are always good. We like to keep a lot of honey and peanut butter around for weigh-in days because that's a good source of protein and energy at the same time. They love to make honey and peanut butter sandwiches after they weigh in. But it's a good little burst of energy, that sugar rush from that honey, and then they get a little protein with the peanut butter. But it's the weight cutting. We stress to them that it's at home. It's at home, and it's in the lunchroom throughout the day. It's not starving. Cutting weight is not starving yourself. You don't starve yourself to cut weight. That's not right. You're not doing it healthy, and you're not going to keep it off. And then we remind them of that.
I like that mentality that you guys bring to the kids. It's not about starving yourself. It's about eating right.
Mm-hmm.
And as adults, sometimes we don't do that. So
Right.
they're learning early,
Yep.
which makes it more important than cutting weight. They live a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
So that's really awesome. So with wrestling being not as well known as some of the other sports, what's a message that you would tell the parents or you would tell a listener to the Tiger Den podcast that may be on the fence about, do I let my son, do I let my daughter go and wrestle? What would you tell them?
First I'll start with a message to the parents. I like to thank the parents at first, the parents of the kids that we have in the room that's part of this team. If they're listening, I want to thank them and thank you for allowing me and our staff to coach your kid hard. And that's hard for a parent to see their kid get coached hard, and that's one thing that we do is we coach them hard. I also want to thank them for allowing us to love their kid, because one of the pillars that we're trying to build this program on is we're going to coach them hard, but we're going to love them harder. Parents should just know that we're just trying to make your child better. We're trying to help them believe in themselves, help them to one day be a good husband, a good father, a good mother, a good wife, whatever they go on to be. We just want them to know they can be great. We just thank those parents for allowing us to be able to do that every day in this wrestling room, and we ask that they cheer for us in the good times and pick us up in the bad times. Stay positive. We love your kids no matter what. And if the fans, and then to the fans, message to the fans, I'd say the same thing. Cheer for us in the good times, pick us up in the bad times, always stay positive. Wrestling is already a mentally tough sport, and we don't need fans, filling the stands with negativity or on social media with negativity. Kids see that, they hear it in the stands, and we just ask, if you are going to be negative, come be negative to me. Come tell it to me. Don't say it out loud so the kids can see it. I can handle it. Bring it to me, and just support us and be there and stay positive. And get ready for a historic run of Swansea Wrestling because it's coming.
That is awesome, and that is something definitely to look forward to. And I know I am one that is super stoked with the season getting started right now. And, just talking to you, Coach, with whether it's the weight, how the kids do, whatever it is, I like the mentality that I'm hearing from you. And I know your coaching staff is the same thing. It's all about the kids doing their best the safest way and the best way as a human beings.
Right.
It's not about the best on the mat. That'll come when you have all the other stuff in order. That's nice life lessons that you're teaching these young athletes and everything. So the other night when you did have the scrimmage with AC Floor and Airport, I had a few people come up to me and ask me a question. Okay, they see the YLT on the back of you guys' shirts and stuff while y'all are wrestling. And they asked me, Noel, what is that? And I said, I have no idea. I said, I'm going to talk to the man that'll know. I'm going to ask him about it and let him explain. So can you give some insight on the YLT, what that is that you guys wear, or without giving away top secret information or anything?
I'm glad you asked that, so I can kind of clear the air with the YLT. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell everybody what it stands for. We actually have this thing that when somebody asks us what YLT means, we're supposed to say, if you have to ask, you'll never know. But YLT, it's our mantra. It's the one thing that we share as a wrestling family that is it's the right to know it is earned. It's not given. And it's nothing bad. There's no curse words in it or anything like that. If I was to tell everybody on this podcast right here, honestly, they probably would chuckle and be like, really? That's what it is? And but we tell the kids to use it as a recruiting tool. That's the biggest thing because they get these shirts. We give them a shirt every year that has YLT on the back that they get to keep, and they wear it around school. We tell them to use it as a recruiting tool, and then when they ask what it is at school, we tell them to come to practice, and you can find out what it is. You come to practice and make team. We'll tell you what it is. YLT is like our brand. Everyone's starting to see YLT somewhere, and they know, oh, that person's part of Swansea Wrestling. People at matches and tournaments, they're always asking and wanting to know what it stands for, and it's just, like I said earlier, it's something, the right to know it is earned. You got to come and fight and sweat in this wrestling room with these kids to find out.
Well, that is awesome. I do appreciate your time and everything that you've given to us. I appreciate what you do as a coach to these student athletes. You're bringing these athletes up as adults, young adults, right? Teaching them hard lessons right now so they can understand those in the long run whenever they get our age. And, well, you're a lot younger than I am, but your age and my age.
Yep.
And they take those life lessons with them.
Yep.
Well, Coach Singleton, I am super stoked to see this year what Swansea's going to do, what you guys have planned.
Yes,
I encourage everybody to come out and support you guys on every tournament that you guys have, to support you in any way that you guys need. I know I tried to get Brady down here for the interview tonight because I told him we'd get some mat time and everything, but he had a meeting to go to. But I told him I know a man that's got a key to the room.
Tell Brady he comes in there and wrestles a whole match. I'll let him know what YLT means.
All right, I'll tell him that. That will get to him.
Yep.
That will get to him. Well, Coach Singleton, I do appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Fans, as you listen to this, hopefully it has enlightened you a little bit. If you knew nothing about wrestling, you're not going to know everything in this podcast, but I guarantee you start coming to the matches, you're going to learn a little bit at every time, and you're going to see what these students do to get worked up for these matches and everything that they're a part of.
Yep.
Any last words, Coach?
No, one thing I just wanted to talk about is, we tell our wrestlers all the time that it's our job to give them something they take something from this sport that helps them be a good contributing member of society one day, and we're not really worried about the wins and how many medals they get. All that fancy stuff is wonderful, but that's just the icing on the cake. The important thing to us in Swansea Wrestling is that we make these kids understand that they are special and they can go be great in life without winning a bunch of medals. And that's just what we're trying to do here. And we want to get the community behind it, and we want to build this thing. And like I said, we got a great. I didn't hit on none on middle school, but we got 22 kids in the middle school program, and the future's bright. These kids, they come in here, they work hard, and like I said earlier, we're getting ready to make a historic run. We're going to be, I might be a little biased, but we're going to be good for several years to come, and we're going to compete. And the state in 3A wrestling is getting ready to know what Swansea's bringing. So, and I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. So come out, support the Swansea Tigers wrestling team. See what all the hype is about and all the fun that it is watching wrestling. And thank you again, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.